Today we're going to talk about camping, specifically camping off of a small dual sport motorcycle. I've organized rides, I've led them, I've been going on them for years, and I see two different types of people who go dual sport camping. One, they don't bring enough, and the other group brings way too much stuff. So I'm going to try to show you how to be completely self-sufficient when you have everything you need, but don't have too much stuff to where you're overloaded and weighted down, and setting up camp takes too long and tearing down camp takes too long. If you have just the stuff you need, it makes life so much easier and so much faster. Now, I didn't set anything up. My garage is just the way it always is, and I'll show you exactly how I set everything up. For luggage, number one, it has to be dry. Now, I don't care one brand over the other. It doesn't matter to me. You use whatever you like. I got this backwards. I've got the Wolfman's, but there's lots of other options to choose from. But they're dry bags. I've been out enough times, and it never fails. If you're out for more than a couple days, it's going to rain and you're going to get wet. So you want dry bags. Like I said, brand, whatever is your favorite, I don't care. But you need to have someplace dry to put all your stuff. And then the other thing, I separate all my gear into categories. I've got my house, I've got my kitchen, and I've got my personal gear. My house is my tent and my stakes. I separate them out because the tent packs up a lot shorter than what the stakes do, and if I try to pack them all together, it just turns into it's too much. Tent's one of the first things out, but I put that all on one side. My whole house goes on one side, and there's no need for much else over here, so it doesn't really matter enough to pack it last. And I also have my ground cloth. It's just a lightweight, super thin ground cloth, goes down underneath the tent. And those are going to be my first things out when I get to where I'm going. My stakes also fit in here. What else do I need for my house? I need a sleeping pad, which is not here. My air mattress, Big Agnes. This thing blows up to 2.5 inches thick. It's super comfortable. I won't go camping without it. Absolutely love it, and it packs down to nothing. And that fits in this side as well. And then last will be sleeping bag. I have a couple of options depending on temperature. Any of them will fit in here. Right now it's hot here in Oklahoma. This is probably good enough. Tiny little sleeping bag. I also have a sleeping bag liner in case it does get chilly at night, and they don't take up any space at all. So we've got sleeping bag. So this right side is all what I consider my house. It's my ground cloth under the tent. It's my tent, my stakes, my sleeping pad, my air mattress, and my sleeping bag. That's it. And that's all that needs to go in here. I don't need to bring, I've seen people bring, my tent's got stakes. You don't need to bring a hammer. There's rock, every campsite I've ever been to, there is something I can use to put in my tent stakes. There's rocks around there somewhere. I promise you, there will be something. Do not bring a hammer. That's all that goes in here. This side is done. It gets locked up, and it will get strapped to the bike. Okay, so my whole house is in here. Again, ground cloth, tent, sleeping pad, sleeping bag, all in this one side right here. So this other side gets my kitchen and my gear. What do I need for a kitchen? I need a stove. This is a stove. It's an Esprit stove. Takes these little Esprit cubes. I have a first aid kit that goes in there. My stove can go on the bottom. Takes up no space at all. Here, I'm going to put these, clip this on here. First aid kit's probably going to go back here. I'll show you what else is in there in a minute. What do I need? I need a way to cook my food, and I need my food, and I need my toiletries. What do I use for food? Freeze-dried meals. They don't weigh anything. They pack down to nothing. And I have one spoon. That's all I have. I have a spoon, my freeze-dried meals, and my little bitty stove. Now, I will usually bring oatmeal for breakfast. So I'll have like 2 packs of oatmeal for breakfast, and then I'll have one of these for supper. Usually don't have anything for lunch. If I do, I'll bring some granola bars or something, and those will usually just go in there as well. But again, I've got all my house taken care of. Now I've got my kitchen taken care of. I've got my stove, my food, my spoon. That's all I need. I don't need to bring a spatula. I don't need a pot. I don't need a pan. I don't need any of that stuff. Boil the water in the little Esprit stove, pour it in the freeze-dried meal, eat it with a spoon. That's all I need. What else do I got over here? Oh. Okay, toiletries. I will admit this has grown. It used to just be toothbrush, toothpaste, and soap, and that was it. Well, no, and my headlamp. Gotta have a headlamp. But you don't need anything bigger than this. You don't need to bring a massive flashlight. You don't need 2 headlamps. You need a headlamp that works. 1 is enough. I have soap to wash stuff up. I bring some deodorant just because. Toothbrush, toothpaste, and then I have allergies and problems like that, so I have an EpiPen with me. Some allergy medication, just allergy stuff. But that's it. I say this has grown over the years. I used to just bring toothbrush and toothpaste and my headlamp. Never leave home without my headlamp. But I've added a couple more things. But again, I have plenty of room. More than enough room. And then just extra clothes. And what do I bring for clothes? I bring lots of socks. My underwear is usually super thin, sports type underwear. And then I'll wear bicycle shorts. I almost always bring a stocking hat because at night when you're in your sleeping bag and everything's covered up except your head, you can still get cold. So I bring a stocking hat. This is another one of my luxuries that I've started bringing. I used to just roll up my clothes and that was my pillow. But I've started adding this little inflatable pillow and it blows up because it doesn't take up any room and it's more comfortable than rolled up clothes. So pillow. I'll bring extra jerseys, t-shirts. It's usually super thin, lightweight stuff. And any pants I bring will have to do double duty. I bring the kind that zip off for if I want to wear shorts around camp. But really, that's it. And this side, and it's not full. So one of my friends, specifically one of my friends, we started bringing just funny stuff. We would bring something funny for dessert or something funny to eat. Not a lot, just something entertaining. And a couple of years ago, I went out and got a little travel Christmas light kit. So these are just battery powered Christmas lights that string up. I brought them as a joke. But then I realized I hang them up in my tent and they make pretty good night lights. So they go along with my, and it doesn't take, I've got more than enough room. And I'm comfortable. Oh, one more thing. I can bring a chair. Most places I go camping, you can sit on a stump, log, whatever. But I did get a little tiny chair, and this will fit in here, again, without taking up any room at all. And in my tail bag, this stuff is on the bike all the time. My first aid kit. Let me move this. Let me move you over here where you can see. Okay, in my tail bag, this is just to keep my inner tubes from chafing. I bring a front tube and a rear tube, always. I have a tire pump. I'm gonna do this so you can see me. I bring a tire pump. I don't know how many guys bring a mountain bike pump and an electrical pump. And I say, why do you need two pumps? They're like, well, I always use the electrical pump, but in case it fails, I have the mountain bike pump as a backup. Okay, you don't need two. You just bring the one that works all the time, every time. I don't need to bring an electrical pump. I don't need to bring a CO2 pump. This one is my backup. This is my primary. This is the only one I need. And it works. So I don't have to carry two of them. I bring patch kits along with a front and rear tube. I've got some baby wipes. I bring an emergency blanket because you never know. And then I have my tools. Oh, that's falling apart. And what is in my toolkit? Every single tool is in here that I need to take apart this bike, except for maybe the swing arm pivot bolt. Every time I work on the bike, if there's a tool that I need to grab out of the toolbox, it goes in here when I'm done. I can take this whole bike apart with the tools I have in here. And as far as little spares, I bring, I've got some master links in here. But other than that, it's every tool I need to take apart this bike, but there's no extra tools. I don't bring anything extra. I don't need to bring anything extra. If I bring anything extra, I wouldn't have any bolts to use it on anyway. These wrenches and tools fit every fastener on this bike. If I brought more, I wouldn't have a place to use them anyway. So that's what's in my toolkit. And that is what's in my tail bag. And that is all that's in my tail bag. My tools, tire pump. Oh, one more thing. It fell down behind here. My tire gauge, and I wrapped some duct tape around my tire pressure gauge. So I have a little duct tape with me as well. First aid kit, inner tube, And again, this is for nothing more than to keep the inner tube from chafing. I've seen a couple of times, we're out on the trail, somebody gets a flat tire, and they go to pull out their spare inner tube that they've had tucked away in their box for years, and it's worn a hole in itself from running. That's it. I'm good to go for as long as I want. I just refill my food. Water, I bring a Camelback. This goes on my back. It's water for drinking. It's water for my food, my freeze-dried food. That's all I need. That's not everything I need. My lighter. This is actually usually in with my toiletry stuff. My lighter goes in here. Okay, now I have my lighter. Now I'm ready to go. And this is for spring, summer, fall camping around here. If I'm going to go out in the wintertime where I need more gear, heavier gear, bigger coats, bigger jackets, I will bring a little more dry bag. And what I do with this, it's a big one. And if I need, for instance, like for instance, if I need to bring more heavy gear, a bigger, massive sleeping bag, whatever, all that big heavy stuff will go in here. And it'll get strapped right there. And I can bring lots of stuff in there. So with this, I say if I need the extra gear for wintertime, that's where it goes. Summertime, I still bring a rain jacket because it can get wet. Rain jacket will go over here because there's still plenty of room in there for my little lightweight rain jacket. Other than that, that is it. Now, if I'm taking the big bike, no, let's come over. So if I'm taking the big bike, I've got more room. I bring all that same gear, which doesn't hardly fill up half of these cases, and I've never put anything in the top case. Never had to. If I do, it's just for ease of access. These are never full if I'm going camping. With all of that gear, even with what's in the dry bag on top, it still fits in the side cases. The only thing extra I'll bring on the big bike, usually almost every time, would be a full-size chair. And I will lay that across here and strap that right there, just to be more comfortable. But other than that, I use the exact same gear on the big bike as I do on the little bike, with the exception of a more comfortable chair. You don't need a lot to go camping, but you need to bring what you need to use. Like I said, I've got my house, ground cloth, tent, air mattress, sleeping bag, pillow. I've got my kitchen, my stove, my lighter. You don't forget your lighter. My food, my water goes in my Camelback, and then my clothes, socks, underwear, maybe an extra pair of pants, and a couple of t-shirts. So that's it. I hope you learned something. I've showed you everything I bring, and this is the same if I'm going on a weekend trip or if I'm going on a 3-week trip. I bring the same stuff. So the only thing that changes with the longer trips is I'll bring this for extra gear. and I'll have to replenish food. But other than that, that's it. I hope you learned something.